So promoting human capital requires strategy. And a lot of planning has to go into that, a lot of understanding of the industry, and we also need to understand the industry they're going to serve in. Okay, the kind of functions they're going to do. We have to look at the indices by which we measure them while performing. Because it is not just recruiting individuals or bringing in human capital without measuring their productivity. KPIs, otherwise known as key performance indices, need to be set.
Yes.
And we also need to look at depreciation. Because like it or not, human capital depreciates as well.
Of course.
You start work at 25 as a management entry level staff. You develop over the years via trainings, via experience. You make mistakes, you correct them. You go through education. You learn on the job, you acquire more skills.
And all that,
Exactly, and then after some time, you peak. Now, the law of economics says that every entity gets to peak, and then after peak, you depreciate. Okay, so you get to a point in time where you're too used to the job, or you're tired, you're not motivated anymore.
What they call diminishing returns.
Diminishing returns, thank you very much. So at that point in time, the HR group has to look at the human capital or the resource and then start planning on rejuvenating or remotivating. In other words, you have to promote some other people and create other vacancies where this person or this resource can fit in. And then others can come in to push the organization forward.
Some other also going for retirement.
Exactly.
So that they'll be
some retire. If they're not due for retirement, for example, the advice is to be able to place them in supervisory roles where they can monitor other people in areas they have served before. So they can train others who are green and then get them to peak and perform as well. So promoting human capital in Nigeria is very key to the success of any organization, which is invariably key to the gross domestic production in the country as a whole, which is very important to our going concern as a nation.
Right, thank you so much. Then lastly from me here, so I said to digress a bit.
Okay.
How is COVID-19 impacting human capital?
COVID-19?
This COVID-19 now.
Now we see, what you just raised is a very sensitive issue.
Yeah.
Because COVID-19 is a pandemic that affected the whole world. And as a factor, or as a key factor in the world, we are a sub nation in the nations of the world, and we are part of the sect that constitute the world.
Of course.
Now, if Nigeria is under the impact of COVID-19 like every other nation, definitely COVID-19 will have impacted on our human capital by, one, diminishing our productivity time. One of the things it reduced was work time. A lot of people were asked to work from home because of COVID-19 infection, and in order to prevent further infection.
Even at some point there was lockdown. At some point
there was lockdown, and a lot of people were redundant. And what that means is, because there was no performance, there was no production. And when there's no production, the economy suffers. When the economy suffers, eventually people suffer. So the effect of direct impact of the human capital relationship with COVID-19 is that there's a diminishing issue in terms of the national GDP, and which in turn affects our well-being. So what the nation will generate as revenue definitely dropped. And what that means is so many organizations will have to lay off because they won't be able to meet up with their remunerations and their staff compensations. And if that is not possible, their overall strategic goals will not be met as well. And some offices actually shut down. So many companies shut down.
So many schools, private schools particularly.
So many private schools,
shut down.
So many production outfits, and entertainment industry also suffered a lot. And so many people closed shop, and we had so much resources back in the unemployment market. So that's a terrible impact from COVID-19. However, in developed nations, the governments prepared for such. When they knew that COVID-19 was going to hamper human resource performance, so many of them prepared stimulus, which they imputed into various companies, small, medium, and large organizations. They actually infused funds as stimulus so that they could sustain their employment. Everyone was advised to reduce their salaries and take home, but not to lay off. However, that didn't happen in this climate. So the impact is one of the things we felt in October of 2020. Quote and unquote, NSAS. When people didn't have enough jobs to do, income was not forthcoming, there was barely food for people to eat. People came to the streets in the name of whatever umbrella. Oh yes, just give it a title and people are ready to buy it. And that caused a lot of commotion in the nation. And if care is not taken, another one is looming. Because not much has been done in terms of employment of human capital right now. So we have a lot of youth strolling the streets. We have a lot of seniors as well who don't have enough to make ends meet or take care of their families in terms of basic necessities. So we are in a very challenging time because of COVID-19.
Thank you very much. You are actually spoken well, because even in spite of these challenges we have through COVID-19, it's also a little bit, favorable. Let me just use that word. The area where we also gain. We lost so much, we also gained little. And that one has to do with internet. Like you mentioned earlier, many people now stay at home to do their work. Personally, I didn't even believe it would be possible for us not to come like this and hold meeting. I never believed. But COVID now taught that it's possible to do Zoom meeting. And you see, so and many people will not start manufacturing so many things too. They come with hand sanitizer and all those stuff. Even a small machine where you can use your leg to press, water will come out, press the other one soap, and wash your hand and leave. So this is also good part of it. But the fact still remains that we lost a lot through COVID and affected human capital. We'll take a break now and enter question and answer session. Vivid View. Say and do it.
I am Oyetunde Emmanuel. Apart from COVID-19 pandemic, what other factors can affect human capital?
My name is Precious. Recently, federal government is about to borrow money. Now, what is the impact to human capital?
My name is Michael. My question is, how do we harness the power of youth in human capital?
Welcome back. A lot of questions from the audience. So, respond from you.
Thank you, ma'am. The first question here is the factors that may affect human capital aside the COVID-19 pandemic. Now we have various factors, like was defined earlier. Human capital is an intangible form of asset that organizations or a nation has. Now, other factors that may affect this, number one, is the background of the resource or the people. If the people don't have enough education not just in the Western kind, but even in apprenticeship, it may affect their performances. Number two is the company's strategic outlook. If an organization has a good strategic outlook for maybe expansion or the going concern is going to be for a long time, the tendency is to plan human resources, and as you plan human resources, you plan developing and expanding them. That way, you get to train them. Remember, human resource
building.
You get to develop their capacity, and by so doing, you are expanding their knowledge base, and also you get to attract more and recruit more people. So human capacity will be affected by organizations' strategic policies.
This is Vivid View.